Saying yes builds a business, saying no defines one. Welcome back to the TrailBLAZER pod. I'm your host Faye, and each week I bring you stories of Jewish women who are paving bold paths. This week, Pink Chili co-founder Gili joins me to talk about quitting tech with no roadmap, building a Tel Aviv social media agency that won't bend on its values, and how you're already the best in the world at being yourself. The hard part is acting like it. Let's dive in. Oh, and don't forget to follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Gili, welcome to the TrailBLAZER pod. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
I love that you're outside. First guest to record outside. It's making me
It's
happy.
like too nice. Like
I
I'm
know.
in America visiting and it's like summer has arrived, so I had to
Good for you. We're bringing some sun energy.
Amazing.
So, in this podcast, I always go all the way back to my guest's childhood, and then it always somehow comes back full picture at the very end. So, can you start by sharing what Gili was like as a little girl, how life was growing up, like anything you can to paint us a picture?
Yes. So it's actually really funny because the name of my company is Pink Chili. But to this day, my dad calls me like his little spicy pepper because I've always been a really like fierce child.
That's so cute.
I was super outgoing, even from like a very young age. Like I always preferred talking to the adults type thing, like 10-year-old Gili, like sitting in a room full of my parents' friends, like discussing and saying so.
Old soul.
Yeah, and I think I always was like a very serious student, which I think kind of will come back to like my founder story, but like super diligent and just like took things really seriously, but didn't take myself too seriously. So, just like I come from like a very goofy family. Like we're always laughing, we're always making fun of each other, a lot of humor. I think like that, and obviously having that support system contributed to a stronger self-esteem, confidence, believing in yourself. Wow. Being able to laugh at yourself has been like a huge value of mine, especially as an entrepreneur, a founder. You know, there's so much shit that can go poorly, and so you just have to be able to like laugh at yourself. So as a kid, I was very rambunctious, outgoing, goofy, dramatic, funny.
I love that because I think people spend a lifetime figuring out how to balance like being goofy with yourself, laughing at yourself, while also having that serious side to be able to accomplish whatever you need to accomplish. I think that's like a lifelong experience that people, like a ride that they go on. The fact that your family nurtured this environment for you is amazing. That's so beautiful. Wow. And you're right.
So like connects to this, like, we'll talk about my business in a second, but our whole social media agency is on the basis of like, it should be fun. Like life and work should be fun, but totally.
I love that. I'm also a very serious person, but I'm also really goofy. And for a long time, I put the goofy aside or like the quirky aside. Yeah. And I'm 30 now and I'm finally starting to be like, now I'm going to bring it to everything, you know? It's always, so I appreciate that you're like that innate, like that's who you are. And I'm like learning to like go back to that.
Lean into it. Cause like people won't remember what you did for them. They'll remember how you made them feel. So like, make them feel happy and easy to be around for sure.
I love it. So, okay, when you were a teenager or high school, what did you envision your career would look like if you were, envisioning that? Because, I've asked this question to people and some were like, I didn't even think about that, girl. I'm like, fair enough. Yeah. So now I make sure to preface it with that. So what was it like for you?
It's a great question. I think like, and it almost sounds silly, but like growing up, I'm also about to be 30, but I grew up in a time that I wasn't so on social media. Like I got Facebook when it started. I was like slowly on Instagram in the beginning days, but it was definitely not the center of my life as it is now, as for most of us. But I think that because of that, like a little bit less accessibility to understanding what careers are out there, like I really thought that there was like 5 careers. I thought that I could be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, teacher, police, you know what I mean? Like the classic. And so all my life, like I knew I loved writing. Like I was a very strong creative writer, just like a writer in general, pre-ChatGPT days, but I knew I was a really strong writer and I always leaned towards like the humanities. So I just like assumed that I was going to be a lawyer because I was like, I'm good at writing. I like reading. So I went on to study philosophy in college and was like pre-law. I took the LSATs and everything. I applied to law school and I didn't even know marketing was a career. I never met a marketer. I never met a person that specializes in anything, in advertising, copy. I didn't know that existed. So I just, in my head was like, I'll just be a lawyer. At the time when I was like 16, all through maybe into my early 20s, I still thought I would be.
That's so interesting. First of all, I went to college. I started as a creative writing major, so I appreciate that about you. And then I took a sociology class. I was like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing. And so I switched over to sociology, and that ended up being my major. But
I come from I was the first in my family to go to college. So I didn't even have like this idea in my head. But I think, I had another woman who also had the same kind of interest and skills as you. And she also thought she was going to be a lawyer because she thought that's where it fits in.
Right.
So it's funny.
It's like boxes that we
Boxes.
and yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So I want to ask you this next question that I grappled with myself, and I think a lot of women who I have on grappled with. You studied philosophy, and a lot of it was because you didn't know there was anything else you can do. Your first job was in tech.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about how you got there in a second. But did you ever grapple with these feelings of, did I waste my degree? Did I go to college for nothing? Is this weird that I'm not doing something with my degree? Like, did you ever feel that?
I think like I'm just like a dangerously positive person. So like I like really, really believe that like everything I've done in my life has led me to where I am, and it helped me develop the skills I needed to succeed. And so I think for 4 years I was a very I don't know how to word it. Like I wasn't one of those kids in college, and I think it's because I'm privileged and I didn't have that pressure. Like, what's my job gonna be? For 4 years, I just like really focused on like learning. I went to a liberal arts college. I asked a lot of questions. I was always reading, and I would go to like every extracurricular activity, and I would stay late and talk to the professors, and I just tried to learn as much as I could. And I think if I had put that pressure on myself, like I think if I studied marketing for 4 years, I'm not sure I would even like be a marketer today. Who knows? But
Interesting.
for 4 years, I learned how to think. I learned how to question. I learned how to write better, how to be concise. And all of that led me to like the marketer and founder I am. And I think I'm really, really grateful for studying philosophy because in a way, I specifically majored in ethics, and a lot of the things I was thinking about, even, in my early college days, come up like business ethics in every single year in my business. So I definitely feel my degree helping me. I don't think it was a waste of time at all. I think
What a beautiful perspective. What do you mean by dangerously positive though?
No, I think like me and my co-founder are very similar, and we were just like love life. And so I think I have really high expectations of people to be as excited as me and as all in as me and as dedicated as me. And so like, I don't know if it's dangerous. I mean, perhaps it's just like, I feel things so extremely, and I'm so always glass half full and just like always trying to see the best in things. That maybe like other people don't see things sometimes really, but
yeah. Sorry for nitpicking. You just stood out to me.
It's great. I love it.
So, okay, so you end up in tech, and you've said that you had no clue what you were doing.
Yes.
I think you actually make a post about this. What was that experience like day to day, knowing that you don't know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it comes from my dad, but he always told me like, I would always be like nervous, like I'm gonna fail this test, I'm not gonna do well. He'd always say like, you are just as smart as everyone sitting next to you in your classroom. And I think I took that, and I remember like calling my parents, like walking to my first day, and they were like, you were just as smart as everyone there. So I think I like really like faked it till I made it. I literally it's so embarrassing now. I mean, it's not embarrassing because I've grown. I didn't know how to open a Google Doc. Like I didn't know how to write an email properly. I didn't know basic like tech terms. Like someone would be like, make a deck. And I was like, what's a deck? Like I like knew nothing, right? Was this like philosophy major that never stepped foot in a tech office. And I think like it just required a lot of learning, and like I would really grind. Like I remember I would stay late at the office. I would go home and I would just watch YouTube videos about like how to build a social media strategy. What is a KPI? What's an OKR? Just like anytime someone said something in a meeting, I didn't know, I had a notebook and I would write it down. I still have that notebook. So I think I just treated it like a college course or like a high school course. Like I'm a student. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to push myself. I would try to have coffees with people, learn from people. And I really just like tried to be like no ego, just learn and study.
Yeah.
Until I think towards the end of that job, I was feeling super confident. And like, as soon as I started feeling confident, I was like, okay, I'm going to go do my own thing now type thing.
Wow, that's so interesting, because my next question was going to be, do you remember the moment when you're like, oh, I actually got this? But you said something even more interesting, where it's like the second I became confident, feeling like, oh, I got this, I was up for another challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. No, reflecting on it with you, yeah, it is fascinating because I think like it's so funny because my friends are always like, oh, I had no idea I would ever be an entrepreneur, like zero. But my friends in college, I recently was FaceTiming a friend, and she was like, no, like I knew you would be. And I was like, how? Though? Like I never was in like a business club in college. I never even thought about business. But she was like, she helped me reflect. She was like, you just gravitate towards leadership. Like you liked leadership opportunities. And so I think it was like this mix of like, and in all honesty, like I loved my manager, and I'm close with her to this day. But I think I struggled a little bit with the like hierarchy as a whole, that like you can have
Mm.
this amazing idea and like 6 people have to approve everything you want to do. And as a person that was like super creative and passionate and just like wanting to run and do things, that's kind of like maybe what started, like it almost came out a little bit of like frustration, like
Got
I
it.
want to do all these things. And then I was confident and competent, able enough to be like, okay, I'm going to go just like
Yeah.
myself.
It's interesting because when I reflect in my life, I also realized like sometimes the good ideas came at a point where I was ready for them. It's
Yeah,
almost like they don't come until you have the skills to actually go and do it.
right,
Not 100% because you're never 100% ready for a
right,
new
right.
venture, but it's just a little, we're talking philosophy and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Like maybe it happens in a way where it's like your brain allows that thought to come in because it knows you're competent to go and do something about it.
totally.
Just like when I look at the patterns, it's interesting to have
Yeah,
heard you say that.
yeah, yeah.
It's really cool.
It's
So
fascinating.
yeah, I mean, we can have a whole
Yeah,
philosophy
whole
conversation.
podcast on
Whole
that.
podcast on that. So you were saying, maybe a little bit frustration, but you also mentioned you caught like the creator bug.
Yeah,
When did that happen? What is that? We
yeah,
talk about creator bug, but like, what does it actually feel like?
totally. So just like a timeline, so I had never really had social media. Like I was the girl in college in my friend group that didn't have Instagram. Like I would watch like other people's stories on my friends' phones, I remember. And I never like, I never knew how to even like post anything. Like I was completely unaware of what was, I think I had Instagram for like a year in high school and deleted it, but like I really didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And so when I was applying to tech jobs, I got denied a lot. Like, my husband right now is applying for a job and he was like, I got like 5 no's this week. And I was like, I got 100 no's in like a month. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like getting denied. And eventually the company that ended up hiring me, they also denied me. But like, I wrote this like very spicy email that was like, give me a chance. Like, I promise you I'm going to work really, really hard. And my
Wow.
manager, who I'm still close with to this day, she's a close friend of mine, saw the email and was like, okay, this girl's hungry. Like, let's bring her in for an interview.
Love it.
I was really persistent. I kept emailing them, annoying them. And so she gave me a chance. She hired me and she was like, I thought I was going to be a writer. I was like, I'm going to be a content writer. She was like, no, actually, you're going to be our social media girl. And like, do you know much about social media? I was like, yes, fake it till I make it. Taught myself as much as I could. And throughout that learning process, when I would go home and like learn and try to upskill myself, I decided to start posting myself because I was like, okay, if I'm going to be a social media manager, like, let me see what this is all about. TikTok was just starting. So again, on TikTok, my first like 20 videos are absolute cringe. Like, I didn't know how to edit. I was just like, I literally uploaded
Yeah.
some videos like horizontally when you're supposed to obviously.
That's so cute.
Like, extremely beginner. But slowly I started getting a following and I remember my first or second video hit 50,000 views and I literally was like, my heart was pounding. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. My life is changing. And it was like,
Oh my gosh.
but I was able to grow my account to like 50,000 followers while I was working full time. And I was posting on weekends, nights. And I think that also kind of contributed to me leaving because I was seeing how like the videos that I was making for fun were bringing in millions of views to my company because I was doing like life and like why you should work here. And I think,
Wow.
it kind of like, lights were going off in my head. Like this is a really powerful tool. And at the time, no one was really doing TikTok marketing for tech. So it was like right time, right moment type thing.
Yeah.
Co-founder left together. But yeah, the creator bug, I mean, I still have it. I'm like obsessed
Oh,
with
I love that.
authentic vlogs and I post on my Instagram story much more now. I kind of like have paused my TikTok influencer career. But I love content creating in any capacity.
You spoke about the frustration and you could have just quit or found another job, but instead you decided to create something of your own.
Yeah.
Like, and you and your partner now in this new in Pink Chili, both quit your jobs to start this. When you reflect on that, do you think that's brave or do you just feel like, oh yeah, it was a natural progression? What's the feeling for you?
We were both super scared, but I was like, I think like I just had this gut feeling and again, that positivity that was like, it's going to work out. Like I remember all my friends and like a lot of people would ask like, aren't you scared that you're just like leaving this amazing company and like a salary? And I remember I didn't leave until I secured a client because I wanted to make sure that like I had something waiting for me, when I was going to leave. So that was the first thing, was kind of like our fallback. And as soon as I secured that client, I was like, okay, I'm ready. But the second thing was I just knew that like I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a mortgage. I was like, it's a now or never situation. And if it fails, like I like don't really get embarrassed that much. Like people can make fun of me all they want. I make fun of myself. So I was like, okay, like it'll be a flop. I'll fail, whatever. And like, I'll get a job. So I think I just tried to like view and like understand the risk. And the reward was so high. Like, what if it did succeed? You know, I could be my own boss. I could make as much money as I wanted to in the sense I don't have to beg for a raise. I could just like work harder
Right.
and make more. And so I think it was just such an enticing path. And at that point, I felt the passion inside of me, and I was like, okay, I haven't felt this way before. Like, I have to just follow my heart and
Yeah,
do
you're
it.
like really tuned in. And I think a lot of us don't tune in enough. We ignore our gut feelings so
Yeah,
often, and it's
yeah.
like we miss these signals almost. So it's really, I would say you look at it the way you look at it, but it is really brave to be able to feel that excitement and then actually turn it into action. Because I think that's where the drop off is for people, right? Like they feel the passion and then it stays this like feeling in their gut and they do nothing with it, you know?
Really interesting you say that, because like I was just reflecting that because I moved to Israel alone, like right when I graduated from college, and like as much as I love Israel, like I always felt lonely there. Like my family's not there. Like if you're having a
Yeah.
bad day, you can't just like stop by your family's house. Like it's just you and yourself, and whether you're dating or not. But like I think like starting the company in a way was like me trying in a way to also build something that's like I'm
Mm,
almost like rooting myself and building something that like
interesting.
I'm building and like carving my way in Israel. So
Blazing your own trail?
yeah, exactly. Or your podcast. Yeah. So I think like in a way sometimes it's out of necessity. It could be like analyzing it as
Right.
well.
Wow, really interesting. So let's talk about pink chili.
Yes.
I know you're working on social media for your tech company, but where did this specific idea come from? Like, what was the problem or the niche that you saw is possible for you?
Totally. So back to like when I was a tech employee, I was making TikToks for fun. I was seeing how powerful it is. And then like a few startups were reaching out to me like, hey, can you come do our TikTok? And I was like, whoa, that's like interesting. Like they want to pay me to come and like make
Mm-hmm.
TikToks for them. Like I didn't even think that was a thing. To be honest, I didn't really know much about what an agency was. Like it's
Mm.
my first year in tech or my first year and a half. And at the same time, my co-founder Noam was interviewing to leave the company we're at, and she was gonna join like a huge marketing agency, like but like a big boy, not like a little, but like, like
Got it.
a 400 marketing company. And we were kind of talking, and at first, I wanted to start a tech company and build a product, but this is like before vibe coding. Like I was
Mm.
having calls with like developers in India, like how can I like outsource an app? And I was just like thinking maybe to start this own thing. And she basically came to me and was like, wait, why don't we just like build something that we can do tomorrow and like not have to rely on anyone? And she was the one that like really put that thought in my head, like, let's make TikToks for other people.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it started. At first, I was like, okay, I think we should just build strategies for people because I don't really feel like filming and editing. Like it's just something
Mm-hmm.
super labor intensive. And so at first we were just sending quotes for strategies. And then we realized everyone was like, no, I don't need a strategy. I need to just send to someone and like launch this, push it. So then we like pivoted and we're like, okay, like let's now be more hands-on agency that like not just consulting, right? Like a full A to Z, full service. So that's kind of how it started. All because of Noam. And also she believed in, like, I asked her, I was like, do you want to quit and leave with me? And she was like, yeah. Like, she didn't even think.
Wow.
We both were like, it was like, twin flame situation. Like, we met,
That's so
like,
cool.
we're meant to be and we're going to go build. And also we really like complimented each other. Like, I'm super American type A, like I'll send a recap email after every single meeting I've ever had in my life. And she's very Israeli, easygoing, relaxed. And so we really like complimented each
Um,
other.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so cool because people work so hard to find co-founders, and it's like such a blessing when you just find
Yeah.
one so naturally and someone you trust because it's huge. So that's so beautiful.
Sure.
You also read my mind because my question was going to be, did the vision change from the beginning to where it is now? Because so often it does.
Yeah.
What were like some of the challenges you experienced, maybe that you didn't expect? I know you're a very positive person, but
Yeah.
I'm sure
No, there were tons of
any.
challenges.
Yeah. Do you want to share some?
Yeah. Well, the first year was just trying to convince people to take us seriously. It was just trying
Big
to get
one.
buy-in because we were like I was like 25 years old.
Yeah.
No one was like 27. Like we were just like these two girls, like super young. Like we gave off this like young, silly vibe,
Yeah.
especially the goofy part. Like me and Noam are very goofy people. And then like when I have to be serious and when I'm strategic, like I turn it on. Like let's get down, let's work hard. but I think kind of being taken seriously by like big execs or like big tech companies. And every client that like prospect that met with us, they would say like, okay, show us your previous work. And our only previous work was like my TikTok. So we would like my TikTok in demos, right? Or like meetings. So that was really difficult. I think also navigating client relationships is always difficult. I mean, I made an Instagram story today. Like I used to have lead calls, like meet with me for 5 meetings and then never hire me. And like looking back, like I was so naive, but like I grew. Like now, like I won't meet with a lead more than like maybe twice. Like 30 minutes to introduce myself. Maybe you want to follow up to review the price quote, but like if you need more than that, then like I'm gonna bill you, right? Because you're just picking my brain. And like at a certain point, in the beginning, I remember I met with this one lead 6 times, that happened to me multiple times. And so I think like the challenge of like making boundaries with people, understanding and how to sniff something out of like, is this a legitimate business prospect or is this a person that's just trying to like suck all my time? Managing employees, the most difficult thing for me. Learning to delegate, learning to trust other people with your baby. I have a lot. Is that what's difficult? Yeah, that's like something that like I really need to work on and something that I personally struggle with. It's like this baby and then like this thing that's like given me and Noam salaries and passion and purpose, and then you just like hand it to someone else and maybe they don't do something the way that like you thought it should be done. And you know, trying to like take a step back and all of that comes with that. And now we're 4 years in, and so now we're thinking ahead like, okay, like everything, the machine is well oiled, but like what's next? Like, I don't want to be comfortable. Like, I want to push myself. So now we're trying to like think of a product to launch within Pink Chili. And so it's always it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like I'm always trying to see how we can grow and you know, shape and craft ourselves and our business into what's changing in the tech world. AI's here. Like there's so much going on, but
it's so funny because again, you said I don't want to be comfortable, and it's like you said that when you were at your tech job, you were like, I got good at it, and I was, what's next? It's interesting theme here to reflect on.
Totally.
I don't know the space very well. Are there more agencies now that are doing kind of what you're doing? Like, how do you guys differentiate yourselves?
So there are globally. There are in Israel. There's not like too much, but there's definitely competition. We really differentiate ourselves in the sense that we are creators, like the people that work for us and me and Noam, we're content creators. So like, I'm not like theoretically analyzing social media. Like I'm posting trends on my own Instagram. I'm commenting, I'm swiping, I'm scrolling. Like my screen time for like TikTok is unhealthy and super embarrassing. Like I live and breathe this world. Like I'm obsessed with social media. And so I think that's our added value. And also the value of Pink Chili. Like I also pick my clients now. Like me and Noam are very, very lucky that like I will turn down many people because we're not aligned. Beautiful. Or like they just want like really like cookie cutter boring social media. And I'll be like, that's not what Pink Chili is, right? Pink Chili, our whole thing is like spice, like be fun, like be spicy, push the boundaries. And so I think we're really lucky that we were able to like make a name in the market for ourselves. And I think that being super confident and fearless and like we never once changed ourselves for someone else. And we've lost clients that way. We've lost opportunities that way. My co-founder Noam, she keeps Shabbat. She's like a religious Jew. And she told me like my one rule is like, you don't work on Shabbat. And like I've had huge American clients wanting us to work with them, but like there was like a company that needed film days on Saturdays because they were in the entertainment industry. And we're like, no, like, sorry. Wow. So I think like staying true to yourself and who you are, and having like a lot of purpose and passion has helped us kind of stand apart from, I would say like the basic agencies that just like all do the same thing.
It's so beautiful that you guys are managed to stay so true to yourself. And I love that you brought up the Shabbat thing. Obviously it's a podcast for Jewish women and not necessarily religious, but it's about, you know, values, whatever that is for you. Because I think when you're starting out, I'm a founder too, so I'm living, breathing this as well. So when you start a new business, it's almost like you're in survival mode, right? You want to say yes to everything, you want to do everything, and it's so hard to have those boundaries with people at that point. So it's just, it says a lot about you and your partner, how incredibly strong you are and how incredibly like connected you are to your values. I think it's so beautiful. So like kudos to you for that. Yeah, it really stood out to me.
I think like one of the best pieces of advice I got is when you start a business, there's going to be money on the table waiting for you, but if it's not where you want to go, don't take the money. In the beginning, like I had 1 million people in the first year ask me if I do like paid advertising, SEO, all these things that like weren't my passion. And if I had said yes to all those people, I would have lost focus for like my path, which was like TikTok, Instagram, like, so we had to ignore the money and focus on building, because like those little side opportunities or things that are not like aligned with your vision or values, they just distract you in a way. So we had a lot of mentors. I leaned heavily on like my parents, my mom and dad and my brother gave me a lot of advice. My grandfather, Noam's family, and just like trying to like keep our head down and focus.
Yeah. I also love that you're talking about mentors and they're your family, because those are the people that really know you and can bring you back to earth, right? And be like, this, I don't know who this person is if you do this, right? It's like keeping you in check.
Yeah, my dad specifically has like really brought me down. There was like this 1 month that I was getting like, I got like 10 million, something crazy. I think I got like 8 million views on TikTok. I had just signed like 5 massive accounts. Like I was a little bit
flying high.
Like, and it got to my head. I remember I called my dad and I was like, I just went to this networking event and like no one intrigued me. And my dad was like, stop that right now. He was like, can I curse on this podcast? I don't know if I can, but he was
yes.
Cut the fucking bullshit. You can learn from everyone. You're not like president of the world. And even if you were, like, stop being cocky. And I think from that moment, I was like, oh, wow, like what just, like, it gets to you. Like, you're like making money. You have all these clients. You're like famous on, and then I was like, so thankful that I have
what a cool experience.
People, being like, put your feet on the ground, girl. You're like, just as important as anyone else around. You're all equal. You're all the same. Like, just be respectful and learn from everyone. And so I've had my moments,
hard.
You know?
It's hard because you should also be proud of what you're accomplishing, right? And it's like, how do you find that line between pride and cockiness? Or like pride and thinking that maybe you're a little bit better than somebody else. But I think it's such a human feeling. But it's cool that you had your dad to reel you in before it was too late. Maybe.
Thank God.
That's really cool.
Thank God. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
Shout out, Dad.
Yes. Abba.
So one of the things I love about talking to women on my podcast is that so many women, or I think all women, are so multifaceted. And I used to come from a place where it's like, I think a lot of us experience this. Before social media, before we were like able to be creative or given like the green light to be creative, we thought a lawyer is a lawyer, a doctor is a doctor. And now we're seeing people are doctors and then they have a thriving social media account, right? Everyone has like all these different parts of themselves. And you have a whole different side to yourself besides for Pink Chili with your work with the IDF and all the amazing things that you're doing. Let's start with, why did you move to Israel?
Yes. So my mom's Israeli. My dad's American. So I grew up with this like love of Israel. My mom like was really, she moved to Israel when she moved to America when she was 30 at 29. So she would only speak Hebrew at home. She would play Israeli music. She would talk about Israel. She would drive 30 minutes so we could go buy Israeli shampoo from this one supermarket that had Israeli shampoo. So I think that's where it came from, like this love of Israel. And I didn't think I would stay there forever, and who knows if I will, but I think I just really wanted to spend time there. Yeah. And I just happened to be there and then happened to find the tech scene. And now, like, my career is really, like, a huge part of being in Israel, so.
That's so cool. Obviously, October 7th happened, and you co-founded Unit 107.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Just talk me through that process of, because from what I read, it blew up pretty quickly. You guys were pretty successful in what you were aiming to do. So, like, where did that come from?
So, essentially what happened was October 7th, I happened to be visiting my family in America. So I was here in Philly, where I am now. And the 7th happened, and I had to help. I was like, I have to do something. So the first day, I think October 7th in the afternoon, no, it was October 8th, I hosted a Zoom with my co-founder about teaching social media best practices for Hasbara and like pro-Israel advocacy. And I made a form, and I was like, basically, I'm going to help people with their posts. So I just like sent it out, and I would edit their posts, whatever. And then I realized that I wanted to use my social media skills elsewhere. And I wanted to have more of a hands-on impact I had a really, really like, my heart was with the reservists, and that's the demographic I really wanted to support. Some people support hostage families, some people support injured soldiers or families, whatever it is. And so it was the reservists. And so basically October 9th, I decide like, okay, like I'm going to help get supplies there. And I chatted with a few friends. I called, a few, my friend Sylvia Naran from New York. and my brother Dory, and we just got together and we just mobilized. We're like, we're all gonna get on Instagram. We're gonna spread the word. We're gonna raise money, and we're gonna build this like supply chain. We viewed it as like a startup, to be honest. So I'm in this like network on Nouveau for Aline that worked in tech, and I tapped into my network on Nouveau, and I was like, this is what I need. Like, who can help? I need someone that will like package the goods. Like, I'll raise the money. We will do all the logistics here, but once it gets to Israel, I need someone to package everything, drive it to these bases, coordinate with the bases and the units. And so we mobilized this whole startup. I mean, it was over 400 volunteers. We raised close to $500,000. I think we sent like I think it was like 50,000 items to like 20,000 soldiers. So really built, like, for 3 months, I didn't work on Pig Chili, and thankfully Noam, who's the best co-founder, just kind of maintained it, and I just dedicated to helping as many soldiers as I could. And I think, like, if we're on a Jewish podcast right now, like, thinking about, like, you know, how things come back to us and Tzedakah and Tikkun Olam and all of this stuff, like, later that year, I ended up meeting my now husband, who was a reservist, right? So, like, and I obviously was not trying, it's just like I was focused on something, and then, like, Hashem was back, and, so again, like, everything I did in my life and will do, like, will continue to lead me in the place I need to be, and, I was really proud of it. To be honest, right now, it's not active because we all kind of went back to our job. But here and there, like, if I get a message of, like, I did it a few months ago of, like, we really want to barbecue this one unit. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I get on Instagram. I have a following. I post my Venmo. And what I do, and the reason I think we were able to raise so much money, a big part of it, was that we were sharing every step. I would show the Amazon order, like $20,000 purchase, click. I would show us packing the bags. I would show the bags being flown. I would make videos. I was on Instagram. The amount of stories I posted October 7th, it was probably like 100 stories a day. Like, my story was, so I was able to leverage my social media skills to support the, like, what we called, like, no red tape fund. Like, it was not a nonprofit, no salaries, like, just no bureaucracy. Like, how are we going to grassroots help these reservists? And yeah, I'm really, really proud of what we did. It almost feels like a dream. Like, we were fighting with customs because we were, like, smuggling in, like, supplies to the soldiers, and I was, like, trying to get drivers to drive to, like, the Gaza.
Oh my God.
October 10th, like, there's rockets above them, like, just crazy stories that I'll always
There needs to be, like, a documentary on that.
Yeah, crazy. And the amazing volunteer movement of October 7th and what happened afterwards. Like, I'm blown away by the dedication. Like, we had volunteers waking up at like 4 a.m. to, like, pack bags and drive them. I had a Ole from Ukraine who drove October 9th down south. Like, October 9th, people were still afraid to leave their houses, and he's driving bags of supplies. So just really brave, incredible people. That was, like, my honor to work with them and to lead that, really.
Wow. How did the emotional part of that affect you? Maybe after, because I think when you're so in it, maybe you don't have time.
Yeah.
Did you ever sit with what that meant? Like, you were really in it. Like, I think most people who weren't necessarily affected were kind of a little bit separate. We all tried to do our part, obviously, on social media and making sure we're, bringing awareness to it. But you were deep in this.
Yeah. I think I used, like, literally, like, I would wake up at, like, I don't know, 7:30 until the second I went to sleep. I was on my phone, on calls, on the Google form, on the sheets. Like, I used that as a crutch, probably, that, like, I didn't want to process and I didn't want to mourn, so I just wanted to work and help. And I think once things died down, I did that for 3 months. And then I went back to Israel. And when I got back to Israel, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was organizing this trip for influencers to go and see the sites of October 7th. So they reached out to me. And I remember it was like 90 days in, and there was still, like, blood on the floor of these homes. And that night I couldn't sleep, and, like, shook me. And I, like most people, had, like, a really challenging, difficult time sleeping. I was having, like, nightmares, and, like, I think all of us are, like, still trying to process what happened and all these wars. So definitely took a toll on like, so many things, but I just, every time I felt sad or scared, I would just fundraise again or host an event. I did it for like a year plus. Like, I was just always in it. And yeah, now I'm married to a active reservist, so I support him in love and support. And of course, when his unit went inside and on the front lines, we came and did a barbecue for them and fundraise. And so now, as like a army wife, I see it, and I have my own struggles with that. So
yeah, I'm sure it's a whole new identity or part of your identity that you have to navigate with. That's really interesting. Do you find that you learned how maybe did it change how you kind of operationalize your business by working with something that you were saying has no red tape? I'm sure it's so different, but like, did you take anything from that experience and implement it into your business?
For sure. I learned a lot about leadership, about working with people. We had like the management of Unit 107, like the people that like were overseeing the volunteers. There were like 10 of us, plus minus maybe 15. We would get together, we would have meetings. And at one point I was like, okay, I kept asking what everyone thought about, like, we were like, for example, we would have like $100,000 and we'd be like, okay, what are we spending on this week? And that's a big decision. Like, we're talking big money, right? And I would get on a call with these 10 or 15 people and everyone would give their advice. Like, I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And like, I was facilitating it because like I was trying to be the leader in a way, but I wanted to hear everyone's advice because I thought every voice really mattered. And I had two friends that were ex-consultants. One was like ex-McKinsey and one was like BCG. And I said, do you mind like coming on one of our calls and just like giving me feedback on like how we can optimize? And my friend, he had said to me, I'm just going to say this to you. You are confusing everyone because there's too many voices. Like, it needs to be top down. Like, you need to make a decision and be more clear with your leadership and just like state the decision. Powerful. And that, like, I learned a lot from all this feedback. And that also reminded me a lot with like my clients. It's like, sometimes you can get a call with like 8-person marketing team and everyone wants to say what we're doing. And I used to be like trying to listen to everyone's opinion, but you need a leader. So I think I became more confident to be like, okay, guys, I'm really the expert here. Like, I don't think we should do this trend and here's why, and like taking charge in that way. So that's one example, but there's been a lot more.
It's a great example. It's also, it's amazing that you're constantly, like, from our whole conversation, wanting to learn and open to feedback. The fact that you reached out to somebody, like, so many people are so scared of that, and you're like, bring it on. Come into this meeting that you have no connection to and tell me what we need to do to optimize. What an amazing quality that is for you. Like, just as an outsider, it's really, really cool to...
It's definitely hard. I get the butterflies in my stomach when someone gives me feedback, you know?
But you ask for it.
Yeah, I still try to. I think if you are always comfortable and nothing ever scares you, then there's like not much growth happening. So I'm trying to put myself, like, for example, before we got on this podcast, I was eating lunch with my dad and I was like, I always get a little bit nervous before a podcast. Like, I've been on a bunch, but you get a little nervous, like where the conversation headed. And then I said, but I was more nervous when I did live TV because that was like really scary. And he was like, yeah, I remember because my parents were with me. They drove me to the studio and I was so nervous. And it's like, if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't have the confidence to do other things, So
I love this.
Things.
I said this to somebody today. I said, there are certain things in my life that were so terrifying. And every time I'm scared, I'm like, oh, if I was able to do that. This happened 2 hours ago. That's so funny. Like the same exact thing.
You're like, oh my God, I got through that. I got this.
You got, 100%.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God, I so relate.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
So, you, pink chili, spicy, you describe yourself as confident, fierce, bold, all those things. And I want to get your advice. For somebody who feels, or let's take a woman who feels like they have to shrink themselves a little bit because, let's be honest, a lot of times we're told we should and like stay timid and say, what advice would you give to them to kind of lean into more of their fierce and let's use the word spicy because it's pink chili, their spicy side and being comfortable with that?
So I need to preface this with like, I don't want to seem like I have it all figured out because one of the things I struggle with is that like, I think sometimes I come across as bossy. And I've gotten that feedback and I've had former employees tell me stuff like that. And that word is very triggering for women because it's like, well, we're just trying to be assertive. We're trying to run a company, but we're bossy or we're like tough. We're not as sensitive. So I'm on my own journey with that. And it's something that like, it's a big insecurity of mine because I have such strong beliefs and I'm so confident and fierce that like women like that sometimes tend to be interpreted. It's like not a good taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
Do I think that is super frustrating? Yes, but I also understand the importance of like kindness and like learning and growing. So I'm trying to like find my own voice.
Interesting.
So that's something that I struggle with. But to answer your question, like I feel what I tell myself when I don't want to shrink is like, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Like there are going to be people that don't like me and that's okay. Like I'm sure there are people out there right now that are going to listen to this and be like, she's annoying. I don't agree with her. She's too whatever. And I
shame on them.
that, right? Like, and it's totally okay. And so like, once you're okay with that, you feel liberated and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna be myself, right? And like, my husband always says to me, like, you are the best in the world at being yourself. Like, just be yourself. And he's very sweet and sentimental, and be yourself, and never, like, you know, there's that famous quote, like, don't diminish your light, you know, and like, don't kind of burn yourself to keep someone else warm. So I think like, and at the end of the day, like, I say this a lot, like, you go to bed with yourself. Like, you are married to yourself for the rest of your life. You are dating yourself. You spend all this time. Love this person. Speak to yourself how you would speak to your best friend or your kid or whoever it is, or your spouse. Be kind and be yourself, and really, like, just stick to your values. There's never a need to shrink yourself. Of course we all do, but I think as long as you like have core values and you stick to them, that's the most important thing.
I love it. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Gili, thank you so much. Such a joy.
You're doing amazing things. I'm so honored to be here.